All right, so I've been following the Johnny Depp trial quite some times, and I came across this video on CBS where Amber Heard's lawyer was talking. I saw the video already, and I've been wanting to do commenting on it, so let's listen, because I wrote a couple of comments under the video here, because what I was hearing that the lawyer was saying was despicable. All right, so let's listen.
A Virginia jury's decision to side with Johnny Depp in his defamation lawsuit is drawing both condemnation and praise. The verdict came after 6 weeks of very dramatic testimony from both sides. She claimed that he abused her, while he said she was the abuser. In his reaction, Depp wrote, "The goal of bringing the case was to reveal the truth, and that truth never perishes."
And by the way, I must say, before you even watch my video, I will really suggest you to watch the whole trial, Law and Crime Network. The entire trial is documented on that channel, so you get to see for yourself what really happened in court and all the documentation, the evidence that was shown. All right, so let's listen.
Elaine Bredehoft is the attorney for Amber Heard and is with us now. And we should mention, we did also reach out to Johnny Depp's team, but they declined to be interviewed this morning. Elaine, thank you. We're so very glad you're here.
Thank you.
We heard Amber's reaction to the verdict yesterday. This seems to be a huge victory for Johnny Depp this morning.
Yeah, a major setback for women inside the courtroom and outside the courtroom.
Because?
Because basically what this said, you know, Amber had an enormous amount of evidence.
You know, we have to be very careful. She did have a lot of evidence, but the evidence shown she was the instigator. She was the instigator. Each time she starts instigating, Johnny Depp wants to walk away.
Every fight. I can't be the only one to hold the promises. I was in Toronto and it fucked me over. I can't be the only one. You can't be the only one. If I split on you, all those times that I thought about doing it, we would not be here. And I stayed, and it's tougher. You know, that's stronger. I'm stronger. It is easy to run. It is easy to run away from problems. It is easy to take that out and say, well, that's the easiest. That's the best, safest. That's the safest way out. I'm not saying we should get in physical altercations. I never want to be in that. Never. But every time you don't like what I say and you fucking run away.
She even mocked him for walking away. Okay, and at one point, Johnny Depp said, "You can, what is it? Something like that. It's good for him to walk away so he doesn't get angry and pop, you know, like hurt her or something like that."
Seem to think that there's this cowardice in me that runs away and I don't fight for you.
And you're justifying that by saying I throw pots and pans? Okay, cool. Let's talk about everything you do wrong.
I'm not the one who did that. I didn't.
So that makes sense. That's clear. Yeah.
The only time I ever threw anything at you was when you threw the cans at me in Australia.
Why are you trying to justify who throws things based on
Because
whether or
that-
not you come knocking on the door? I don't
Because
get
that
why
is a irrational and violent maneuver.
How
So
does
a
one
man would
inform
want
the
to
other?
get out of that area so that he doesn't get so angry that he actually does pop the wife.
Which makes sense, because I, as a woman, listening to those audio, it's very painful. We have to give Johnny Depp as much credit as possible, because for the amount of time he endured listening to all of this nonsense, probably on a daily basis. All right. And the other thing also, I don't want these people to talk for, at least for me, I want to talk for myself. I don't know if other people seen the trial or agree with me, but these people, Elaine and Amber Heard and all of that, they want to put their BS under the umbrella of every woman. Not every woman wants to be instigating a woman, provoking the men to act and things like that. This is why I'm saying, you guys, if you just happen to cross my channel, I truly suggest you guys to Law and Crime Network or watch Emily D. Baker. She document the whole trial. You get to listen with your own two ears. Do not watch those major networks commenting on the trial, because I started listening to them, watching one, I don't remember which major network I was watching, and then when I hear the commentator talking, I was like, what the F? That's not what I just heard. So from that point on, I stopped watching it. I went straight to Law and Crime Network. You get to hear everything for yourself. And sometime I watch Emily D. Baker. She gave you her opinion in terms of what the law is about. Like, let's say if they do objection, what the objection is about, what does it mean, and things like that. And you could look at some of my videos as well. What I try to do, because I'm not a lawyer, I never practiced law, I try to put the videos together, how certain things happen, without me commenting on it, giving my opinion. But there's some other videos I will be doing later on where I will commenting on it. But for now, every day, whenever I have time, I put together some videos that with the trial to put together so you guys could see for yourself. But the main thing is, I do not want these people to talk for me, okay? Because I don't like to instigate people to start something. Alright, so that's one thing. I went a little bit too far with this. Let me move it back a little bit.
Basically what this said, Amber had an enormous amount of evidence, although a lot of it was suppressed in this case as opposed to the UK. But look at all the women who have no evidence. All these women who suffer from domestic violence, domestic abuse, they don't have evidence. And basically what this jury said is, unless you pull out your cell phone and you tape record your spouse beating you, you're
No,
I think
no. If you pay very carefully with the amount of evidence that woman had, it seems like she wasn't really in the marriage to be herself. It's like every single thing she's recording and instigating. Sheesh.
bigger than that, because you had the evidence, as you say, but they did not believe her. Why do you think they did not believe her?
I think that a lot of that was that it was Johnny Depp. I
What?
think the celebrity status.
No,
But she's
no, that has nothing to do with being a celebrity. That has absolutely nothing to do with a celebrity. If Johnny was wrong, I will be completely against it. But the guy is running away. The woman even mocked him for being a baby. Okay?
And I watched you lie, and then
I
I
didn't punch you,
and
by
then
the way. I'm sorry that I didn't hit
punched
you
me.
across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched.
Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched.
You know, you've been a lot of fights, been around a long time. I know. Yeah,
No,
I
when you fucking have a closed
didn't
fist.
get punched. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not fucking deck you. I fucking was hitting you.
You can't
I don't know
deck
what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
How are your toes?
What am I supposed to do? Do this?
How are your
I'm not
toes?
sitting here bitching about it, am I? You are.
Oh,
That's the difference
you
between
poor
me and
toes.
you. You're a fucking baby.
Because you start
You
physical
are
fights?
such a baby.
Because
Grow
you-
the fuck up,
Because you start
Johnny.
physical fights?
Running away from her each time she start instigating. This is the thing many people need to understand. If you haven't seen the trial completely and listening to some of the audios, he's running away from the woman who's instigating, nagging all the time, where he even said, look, I'm coming back. And she keep on going and going and going until he called his security, go drop her to another place that they have. Johnny Depp tried to distance himself from her. So this woman, I don't know what the hell is wrong with them.
Celebrity too.
And it's not only not
but she's
believing her.
but she's a celebrity too.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, it's a tale of two trials. All the evidence came in the UK. Mr. Depp brought that one. The burden of proof was on.
It's not like that. Even in the UK trial, if you were paying attention, there was some evidence that they will not allow him to bring. I don't even think, I could be wrong, the police evidence, those police who went to the penthouse, they didn't allow this in. But this was allowed in this trial, and you see the body camera. This woman is telling you what you're seeing is not what it is. The apartment, the penthouse wasn't even destroyed. And she's claiming no. As a matter of fact, every witnesses that came in, they're lying, they should believe her. My God, she's making it really worse for women who's actually going through this kind of domestic violence.
The son in the UK, because they had called him a wife beater and talked about the domestic violence. He had his opportunity to tell the truth.
They limit him. They limit him in the amount of evidence that he could bring. And I could understand why he lost that case, because Amber Heard she convinced them that he did it. So because she was the wife of him, so they're gonna take her word for it. But the amount of evidence that he provided, they discredit it. So I can't believe I'm listening to her saying this. These people are really delusional.
Mr. Depp, Mr. Rottenborn asked you some questions about the UK trial. Why do you feel that this is the first time that you've actually had an opportunity to tell your story and, as you said, get the load off your back?
As the UK trial was me suing Dan Wooten and the Sun for defamation for calling me a wife beater. The UK have there are different laws, there are different ways they handle things. There are also limitations in evidence. Some things can be brought up, some things cannot be brought up. Mr. Rottenborn.
He's talking about limitations in evidence in the English.
Your Honor, he's talking about his experience testifying.
Overruled.
You'll be okay. Yes, there is a very everything is quite boxed in with regard to what can be said, what can be spoken about. So Ms. Heard provided information to the Sun as their star witness, but the case was not brought against Ms. Heard. It was brought against the Sun newspaper, journal, whatever it is.
Mr. Rottenborn referenced that you were on the stand for multiple days.
4.5, I believe, yes.
Yeah. What was the nature of that examination? Or, excuse me, who was conducting that examination of you?
QC Sasha Was.
And whose attorney was that?
The Sun's.
And a 3-week trial, he lost. The judge found 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence.
And then let's not forget, in the UK trial, where Amber Heard gave a deposition, where I think it had something to do with when she went in court in California, saying something about TMZ, alerted TMZ and stuff like that. She's saying that she's trying to keep it quiet, but at the same time, okay, she's alerting TMZ what's going on. And then she accidentally, okay, in this trial, in the US trial, we were able, how should I say, Vasquez was able to caught her saying that BS on that trial. There's a video of her on the UK deposition where she accidentally said she alerted TMZ about what was going on with her, her divorce case.
Basically, I didn't want him to find out online that I had or was about to file, or I had already filed for divorce. I wanted him to know verbally. So I was trying to reach him through a third party to tell him. When I say reach, I'm specifically saying I would like him to know information coming from me or coming from Jerry, from me, so that he finds out about the divorce filing or my intention to do so from some other source other than TMZ, which was alerted.
You slipped up there, didn't you, Ms. Heard? You let it slip out that TMZ had been alerted to your filing of the domestic violence restraining order, didn't you?
Okay.
And that came out November 2, 2020. We weren't allowed to tell the jury that.
Well, it's a different system, and the judge, it wasn't a jury, it was a judge. Substantially true.
And then that's the other thing too. Only one person, okay? Just the judge. Who knows what went behind the closed doors? That's just speculation, okay? One person. And here in the US, you had 7 people who agreed on the same thing. So she can't, bringing this BS here.
And that is significant, and I think surprised a lot of legal analysts. But, in this case, the jury not only didn't believe Amber Heard, but in ruling that she acted with actual malice, that means she had the intent to cause harm.
Yeah.
Right? That's a pretty high standard.
That is it.
And it's pretty amazing since the op-ed never even mentioned Mr. Depp.
But again, if you guys watched the trial, okay, ACLU said yes, it was about Johnny. They removed his name because they didn't want to be sued. And then there was something else. What was the other thing that well, they said it, and then I think during cross-examination with Amber Heard at the beginning of the trial, different days, she said it wasn't about him. And then near the end, during the rebuttal, I believe that's the term they say, where Camille Vasquez was cross-examining Amber Heard, she came out and said, this is why I wrote this op-ed. It's because of men like him, this and that. All right, and then Vasquez did a very good job debunking her.
In 2016, you didn't expect a TMZ employee to show up to testify that TMZ had been alerted that you would be at the courthouse and knew exactly which side of your face to take a picture of, did you?
I know how many people will come out and say whatever for him. That's his power. That's why I wrote the op-ed. That's his power. That's why I wrote the op-ed. I was speaking to that phenomenon. How many people will come out in support of him and will fall to his power? He is a very powerful man, and people love currying favor with powerful men.
Currying
I know
favor
that
and
firsthand. I've
risking
lived
jail
it.
time for committing perjury?
Excuse me? I didn't hear your question.
You didn't
Excuse
hear my
me?
question?
Ms. Vasquez, if you do mind, please just repeat the question. I didn't hear you.
Curry favor and commit perjury in this courtroom?
I have
For
seen
a
people
powerful
do this.
man?
I have seen people do this time and time again. That's why I wrote the op-ed.
because the op-ed said something about 2 years ago, whatever, who she was married to 2 years ago. Again, don't just take my word for it. I'm not just making this video for the sake of making video. I really suggest many of you watch the trial. Everything. I think it's like 30 something days or 27 days. Okay?
You have to remember that. What they learned from the UK case is to demonize Amber, which is what they did, and to try to suppress as much of the evidence that came in the UK and did not come in the United States. But the other problem is we had cameras in the courtroom. So here we had, not only did we have a group of Depp fans that were there every day, 100
it's just too bad she didn't have hers.
At 1 o'clock in the morning for their wristbands to be in that courtroom. But we had everything on camera, and we had tremendous social media. There was,
and this is good because everybody could see what was going on, because the deck was stacked against him. He wanted people to see exactly what he was dealing with, and I'm glad they did that, because if this thing went the other way, you will hear her every day on national television saying all this nonsense. I'm glad it was televised, and it is true that she even lied in court. The Hicksville, she lied about that.
You told this jury under oath that Mr. Depp was aggressive and trashed a trailer in Hicksville. You didn't expect the manager of the Hicksville property, Morgan Knight, to come forward and testify that that was untrue, did you?
Incorrect. I've already been through trials with this man. I know how many people will come out in support of him.
When you told
Which brought and I believe the former owner of Hicksville to say, no, I was there, that didn't happen. She lied under oath. And regarding the TMZ, she said some BS thing, and then one of the former TMZ what do you call this, one of employer, I forgot his status when he was working with TMZ, okay, I think Chomaine, something like that, okay, came to testify and said, this is not how it is. You have to alert us.
oath that you had no idea that the paparazzi would be at the courthouse on May 27th, 2016. You didn't expect a TMZ employee to show up to testify that TMZ had been alerted that you would be at the courthouse and knew exactly which side of your face to take a picture of, did you?
I know how many people will come out and say whatever for him. That's his power. That's why I wrote the op-ed.
To tell us where you're gonna be so we could send our people to capture the thing. He even said which side of her face the camera TMZ should catch. Okay, this is, they are freaking making this thing really, really bad for women.
was very, very, very much against Amber.
It was pointed out that that was the first time that a victim of sexual abuse had to testify on live television.
And I fought hard and lost that battle.
So,
it should not have happened.
So I am a former NFL player, and after a hard loss, it's easy to wake up and point to the other side. Oftentimes, I realized the better thing to do was to look in the mirror.
Exactly.
What mistakes did I make as a player? What mistakes did our coaching staff make?
Very
and then
good
how
question.
can we improve from there? Do you feel like you guys made any mistakes along the way? Do you feel like Amber made a mistake while she was on the stand? Because you're saying it's the celebrity, it's Johnny, it's
blame
the people
everybody.
who support him. But what about you and your team?
Well, and that's an excellent question. And to say, and you know, Amber even said on the stand, I am not perfect. I am a human being. These people were giving her death threats. They threatened to microwave her baby.
Where did she get that?
This
Where
is
is
the
her
kind
proof?
of social media she was getting.
She has so many proof for everything. Where did she get these things? She should bring it to court and show people.
So are any of us perfect? No. Is there something else we feel we should have done? Yes, I absolutely. I redo my closings 100 times.
Oh, her closing was horrible because the day before the closing argument, the judge, you know, was sitting in court. Both teams, both sides were discussing what they could permit it to talk about during the closing. I think during the closing, she did a sucker punch. Okay, sucker punch. Sorry with my accent. Where Johnny Depp's team had to object several times because she mentioned stuff that she should not be mentioned.
We're going to the third one. This makeup thing, fresh-faced, natural. These were Adam Waldman planting these when he talked to the ECB people. You know, remember the testimony here. We kept asking, so did you talk to Mr. Waldman? Did you talk to Mr. Waldman? Mr. Waldman was trying to plant in all of these people's minds.
Objection, Your Honor.
Somehow, she wasn't.
The approach?
These people are ridiculous.
Yeah, afterwards, whether I win or lose. That's part of being a good lawyer, a good trial lawyer.
But what have you done? What have you done that's wrong? Okay? Pointing finger at everybody but yourself. What have you done? It's the same mindset Amber Heard had. Everybody else is wrong, but she's the only one who's right. Police officers came, they're wrong. Every witnesses, they're wrong. Only her. But what have you done as a lawyer that could be done something different?
Talking about lawyering, Joe, were you surprised by the statements of Elaine Bredehoft after this verdict that, basically disagreeing with the jury's decision, saying that there was evidence that was suppressed, talking about how the UK trial should have, or the verdict in that trial should have been brought to the attention of the jurors, talking about how the jurors were most likely swayed by media attention, even though, it seems by this point that's a speculative argument. Were you surprised that she's making these statements?
No, not really. There's a couple things here. She lost, and she lost a really big case, and it's really hard. I'm actually sympathetic toward her because it's hard to win a case around a bad client or a client that just doesn't testify well. I would give you 10-1 that there are some disagreements where she did not take her lawyer's advice. But that being said, I think that got her, the attorney, kind of knocked out on her feet, as it were, which is why she could go and cross this guy from TMZ and lose, when she's supposed to have control. So she had a lot of problems there. She said that she didn't minimize the jury, but then she kind of said, well, there's social media out there and all these other things. She didn't minimize the judge. Hey, I respect the judge, but I think the judge got a lot of things wrong. So she was very much in defense mode. I think she's still punch drunk from having a bad client, a client that didn't listen to her on some level. She's probably seething about that privately. But you just kind of have to figure out how you're going to deal with that. And then there's the practical aspect of what kind of chances do you have on appeal? And based on that, how do you maneuver and what do you do? But I would say that there is something to be said for having good PR folks.
You're not mentioning it. You're pointing to everybody.
Something. But I think that there were a lot of influences here that were beyond our control. And I think the social media, it was like a...
Guess what? If Amber Heard was telling the truth, understand, none of those other people, the TMZ, the Higgsville, I think there was one more who came, I forgot. Okay? If she was telling the truth, they will not come. They would not come and speak out and say, no, she's lying. She improvised in everything.
Roman Colosseum is the best way to describe the atmosphere here. And I have to believe that the jury, even though they're told not to go and look at anything, they have weekends, they have families, they have social media.
They were not sequestered. They were not sequestered.
And the 10-day period we had.
Okay, she's talking about her client because at the beginning, she said there was some concealer or some things that to cover her, was it her bruise, Amber Heard bruise? She claimed this is the exact same thing she used to cover her bruise. And then the company that makes that product, I think I forgot the name of it, put something on TikTok. I'm not on TikTok, but it was all over social media saying, no, this cannot be because they were not available around the time that she claimed she had it. Okay, I think they came out 2016 or 2017 or something like that. And then when she's on the stand, she claimed, oh, well, okay, this is not the exact same one. And, just toss this out of the way. Because she was on social media. How would she know that people on social media is telling her they're going to cook her baby? She should not be on social media during the trial.
How could they not have been influenced?
But Elaine, for most people watching this trial, and a lot of people, as you know, got huge views, it just seemed to be so messy and salacious and so tawdry on both sides. And I think for a lot of people from the outside looking in thought both of them were not telling the truth and that they mutually abused each other. Do you not believe that was the case?
No, and that's one of the many misnomers. The way that Depp's team approached this.
Oh, they were professional. They were organized. What is it? Johnny Depp, his story has remained consistent. Even the finger part have remained consistent.
Smashed. She threw a vodka bottle at me. and my hand was resting on the marble of the bar like that. And the first bottle went just past my ear, and the second one was a larger bottle, and she threw it from about this distance, and it smashed into the bar, which and this finger. So I went behind the bar. I grabbed a bottle of vodka that was there and a shot glass and sat at the bar. She was nowhere around. And I poured myself 2 or 3 stiff shots of the vodka. First taste of alcohol I'd had in a long time. And then she came down to the bar and found me there. And of course started screaming, "Oh, you're drinking again, the monster," and all that. So she reached, she walked up to me and reached and grabbed the bottle of vodka, and then just kind of stood back and then hurled it at me, and it just went right past my head and smashed behind me. So I stood up and I walked behind the bar, and there was a larger bottle of vodka, the kind with the handle, you know, on it. I grabbed that and I went and I sat in my seat again. I opened the bottle and I poured myself a shot and drank it. Ms. Heard was flinging insults left, right, and center, and she then grabbed that bottle and threw that at me. And the way that the bar was situated and where Miss Heard was, so if I could show you, so if this is the bar where the glass was and the bottles, if this was the bar and I'm sitting here like this, she would grab the bottle and she would go there, she went there. And so I was leaning like this in the chair, looking at her. First bottle went, then got the other bottle, shot, takes the second bottle, which was the larger one. I'm in this position again, and my hand is on the edge of the bar, like that, you know, leaning over, the fingers like that, and she threw the large bottle, and it made contact and shattered everywhere.
Okay, Amber Heard improvise to see whichever question that they ask her. Alright? And then with the amount of abuse she claimed that she endured by Johnny Depp, there is no medical record of none of that. None of that. Pictures she submit to court, they don't have the device that she took the picture, so they could say if it's actual, if it's the right copy or whatever it is. But the one that she submit to the court is copy of a copy of a copy. Nothing is original. And then one of the photos that she submitted have the same file name, took at the same day, okay, exact time, date, and everything. So you know when you're taking pictures with your phone, each click within your phone or any cameras, it gives you a different a different name, a different file name, either a different number, you know, or whatever. But hers wasn't like that.
Was based on ignorance of domestic violence. It completely ignored the cycle of violence and just said, oh, she wouldn't have done this if he had been hitting her. That was their approach.
So you thought that they weren't fighting fair?
Correct. I don't think they were fighting fair.
And you think
Absolutely.
Amber Heard is, in fact, a survivor of domestic violence?
Yes,
Oh
I
my
absolutely believe that. And there's a tremendous amount of evidence, much of which did not come into this trial, did come into the UK trial. We even had more evidence. We had medical records. We had mental health records that went back to 2012 that were contemporaneous. We had text messages from Mr. Depp's assistant saying, when I told him that he had kicked you, he cried.
So how
That
is she
didn't come
today,
in.
Elaine? How is she today? What is her
heartbroken.
next move?
She's right. Well, her next move is appeal. There were
But
a
she's
number.
heartbroken.
She is heartbroken. And one of the first things that she said when she came back from the verdict, when we went into the conference room, was, "I am so sorry to all these women." That's,
She said that?
Yes. She,
No. Thank God I've never been in that situation, and I don't wish that on anybody. But she's too much of an instigator. The amount of recording that she has, it shows how much she instigates. I think she wanted Johnny Depp to punch her or some shape or form, so she could use that against him. But Johnny Depp had too much self-control to not do it. Instead, he rather hit cabinet doors, walk away, lock himself in a room, and all of that. Move away from her.
felt like she had let down all of these women because she had more evidence than most people do.
It doesn't matter, because what we saw, I myself as a woman listening to it, I can't believe Johnny Depp was able to sustain that amount of nagging. She's talking for herself, not domestic violence. I truly hope people listen, watch the trial, and see what happened. She then mentioned about the money that was supposed to be given to...
You released a statement after Mr. Depp donated $100,000 to the ACLU and $100,000 to CHLA. Correct, Ms. Heard?
I think so, yes.
Okay. And the language that follows is the statement you released in response to Mr. Depp's donations, right?
I don't know if this is the official statement. I have no idea.
The statement that starts
Objection,
at
Your Honor.
Amber Heard. That's the only thing I'm going to say. Would you please read that to yourself, Ms. Heard?
Yes.
Okay. That's the statement you released through your spokeswoman after Mr. Depp made the donations to the CHLA and the ACLU. Correct, Ms. Heard?
I do not recall exactly what my statement was. I don't disagree with anything in the statement, but I just simply don't recall what the statement was we released.
Is there anything inaccurate in that statement, Ms. Heard?
No.
Okay. I'm going to move to admit.
Objection, Your Honor, lack of foundation.
No, I'll overrule the objection. 1260 and evidence over objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. The statement reads, Amber Heard appreciates Johnny Depp's novel interest in supporting two of her favorite charities, the ACLU, American Civil Liberties Union for Domestic Violence, and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles. This is great and unexpected news. And it continues. However, if Johnny wishes to change the settlement agreement, we must insist that he honor the full amount by donating $14 million to charity, which, after accounting for his tax deduction, is equal to his $7 million payment obligation to Amber. And it continues. We would also insist that the full amount be paid immediately and not drawn out over many years. Anything less would be a transparent attempt by Johnny's counsel, Laura Wasser and Patty Glazer, to reduce their client's true payment by half under the guise of newfound concern for charities that he has never previously supported, end quote. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
After this, you kept commenting about the donation of your divorce settlement, right?
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay. You spoke about donating your divorce settlement on a Danish TV show, correct?
I believe I said I had. I believe I said I donated it to charity, but it was already printed or already commented on and stated in the press. I had already released that information in the press. I think I just confirmed it on that show.
You appeared on a show called RTL Late Night, right?
I don't recall what show it was.
If we could please play Plaintiff's Exhibit 346, which is a portion of your appearance. on this program. And we would ask that it be moved into evidence and ask for permission to publish it.
It contains, it has hearsay, it contains other communications with other individuals.
Your Honor, if we may approach very briefly.
$7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and Children's Hospital of Los Angeles.
ACLU is a human rights organization.
Sorry, ACLU is a prominent organization, nonprofit organization in the United States. It's called the American Civil Liberties Union, and they work on behalf of marginalized communities on the ground and in legislative reform. And
well, more power to you, because that's something that I've never heard
I wanted nothing.
This interview was in October of 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't recall when it was.
It was in 2018, right, Ms. Heard?
I don't remember when this was done.
This was after you had received the full $7 million of your divorce settlement from Mr. Depp, wasn't it?
Again, without knowing when it was recorded, I have no idea.
The $7 million divorce settlement was paid to you in full by February of 2018, right?
That's correct.
Let's take a look at Defendant's Exhibit 1458, which is already in evidence. This is the deal point memorandum from your divorce settlement, right, Ms. Heard?
Yes, that's what it looks like.
And if we go down to the bottom of page 4, there's a heading labeled Equalization Payment. Do you see that?
Yes.
And underneath, so the first payment is scheduled for August 31st, 2016, and that's $200,000, correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Mr. Depp's accountant, Edward White, testified that he made that payment directly.
You got to turn on your microphone, Ms. Bredehoft. I'm not going to hear you.
Objection to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to.
Okay.
It's a he literally testified to it in court.
I'll overrule objection. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Depp's accountant, Edward White, testified that he made the payment directly to the ACLU and CHLA, correct?
I believe so.
These were all made to you, weren't they?
That is correct.
And the final payment of $2.3 million is on February 1st, 2018, right?
The final payment, yes.
And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule.
I'm going to object to her testifying to what Mr. White testified to. It's improper.
Objection. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. And you were here in court when Mr. White testified that the payments were all made on schedule, right?
I don't believe they were. He might have
That's
testified
not my
to
question,
that.
Ms. Heard. My question was, you were here in court when Mr. White testified under oath that all the payments were made on schedule.
I was here every day in court. I heard his testimony, yes.
Okay. So back to October of 2018, this was before Mr. Depp sued you for defamation, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
He didn't sue you until after the op-ed came out in December of 2018, right?
He sued me in 2019.
And the op-ed came out in December of 2018.
That is correct.
So in October of 2018, you had received your entire $7 million divorce settlement. You would agree with me?
That is correct.
Okay. And you hadn't yet been sued by Mr. Depp?
This is October, correct.
So in this October 2018 interview, you said that you had, quote, donated, end quote, your entire divorce settlement to charity, right?
That's correct.
And in fact, your exact words were, quote, $7 million in total was donated to, I split it between the ACLU and the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, end quote, right?
That's correct. I made that statement as soon as I got a divorce and we reached the settlement. That's when I pledged it, right then.
And you say this because you, quote, wanted nothing, end quote.
That is correct.
But you hadn't donated your entire $7 million settlement to charity at that point, had you?
That's incorrect.
Sitting here today, Ms. Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity. Isn't that right?
Incorrect. I pledged the entirety of the
Ms. Heard,
settlement, $7 million
that's not my
to
question.
charity, and I
Ms.
intend to
Heard, Ms.
fulfill
Heard,
those obligations.
Ms. Heard, that's not my question. Please,
What was
try
your
to answer
question?
my question. Sitting here today, you have not donated the $7 million, donated, not pledged, donated the $7 million divorce settlement to charity.
I use pledge and donation synonymous with one another. They're
But I
the same
don't.
thing.
Ms. Heard, I don't use it synonymously.
That's how donations are paid.
Ms. Heard, respectfully, that's not my question. As of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the ACLU. Yes or no?
I have not yet.
And as of today, you have not paid $3.5 million of your own money to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles, correct?
I have not yet. Johnny sued me.
So as of today, you have not donated, paid $7 million of your divorce settlement to charity, right?
I have not been able to fulfill those obligations yet.
And that's because you did want something, didn't you?
I didn't want anything, and I didn't get anything.
You wanted Mr. Depp's money.
Didn't get it, wasn't interested in it. I loved Johnny, that's why I was with him.
You wanted praise for donating the money, right?
That's incorrect.
You wanted good press.
In general, one does want good press, yes.
You wanted to seem altruistic publicly.
Wasn't my interest. My interest is in my name and clearing my name, and at the time I was being called a liar and my motives were being questioned. I did see it as important to clear that up. I wanted to make a statement to make sure that there was not any doubt that I couldn't be labeled these things just because Johnny was a bigger star and had more publicity reach.
You wanted to remind everyone of your claims of domestic violence against Mr. Depp, right?
No, I wanted to move on with my life.
You wanted to make those claims seem believable.
They are believable. They were
You wanted
believable.
them to be seen, you wanted to be seen, excuse me, as a noble victim of domestic violence,
I
didn't
have
you?
never wanted to be seen as a victim. Nor have I ever called myself one.
You testified under oath that, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote, didn't you?
That's correct. I pledged the entirety.
No. Ms. Heard, my questions. Your counsel will have time to redirect you after. You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of your divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote.
That is correct. I pledged the entirety.
I'm going to move to strike everything after yes.
All right.
No. Ms. Hurt, this is really inappropriate.
I'll sustain the objection and we'll just move forward.
Thank you.
Let's move forward. Next question.
Under oath, that statement wasn't true, was it, Ms. Heard?
I'm sorry, I don't follow your question. Sorry.
You testified under oath, quote, the entirety of my divorce settlement was donated to charity, end quote. That statement wasn't true.
It is true. I pledged the entirety to charity.
The statement...
When you say you buy a house, you don't pay for the entire house at one time. You pay it
I'm
over
not
time.
asking, Ms. Heard.
All right, next question, please.
Thank you. That statement isn't true today, as you sit here today, is it?
It is true. I pledged the entirety.
But you didn't donate it.
Unfortunately,
you didn't donate it. It's a yes or no.
I haven't been able to to fulfill those.
So that's a no, right, Ms. Heard?
I made the pledge. I want to be very clear. I pledged the entirety. I haven't been able to fulfill those pledges because I've been sued.
You had all of the $7 million for 13 months before Mr. Depp sued you, and you chose not to pay it to the charities you pledged it to. Is that correct, Ms.
I
Heard?
disagree with your characterization of that.
Let's look at your sworn testimony from the UK. This is your third witness statement that you submitted in the UK action, right, Ms. Heard?
Correct.
And this statement was made under oath, true?
That is true.
I'm directing your attention to the last page of that statement. That's your signature, right?
Yes, it is.
So you made this sworn statement on February 26, 2020.
That's correct.
And directing your attention to paragraph 4. It says, quote, "I remained financially independent from him the whole time we were together, and the entire amount of my divorce settlement was donated to charity," end quote.
That is correct.
Did I read that correctly?
Yes, you did.
The him you were referring to is Mr. Depp.
That is correct.
Most of the money that was donated to the ACLU and CHLA in your name came from someone else. Isn't that right?
I don't know what you mean by most of.
Well, at least $500,000 that was donated to the ACLU in your name wasn't paid by you, right?
I believe Elon made a donation in my honor on one of the years.
Yeah, and it didn't come out of your $7 million divorce settlement, right?
No, nor did it count towards my pledge.
And at least $500,000 that was donated to the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles in your name wasn't paid by you either.
Right, those were made at the same time.
And it didn't come out of your $7 million divorce settlement.
Nor did it count to my 3.5 obligation.
Those $500,000 payments came from your new boyfriend, Elon Musk, right?
I don't know if he was a new boyfriend at the time.
You got him to pay part of what you promised to these two charities, didn't you?
Incorrect.
Because you wanted to keep at least some of the $7 million divorce settlement for yourself, right?
You're very wrong about that.
And yet they still didn't believe her.
Elaine Bredehoft, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. We'll be right back.
So there's another video that I saw. Is it that one? Heard verdict, potential implicate Me Too movement. So this is another video that I saw. I didn't see that one yet, but let me listen to that.